So guys, the man is gone. Ten Hag is gone. And I know most of you will be happy. But let me tell you why I'm so pissed about this news. Can you imagine, after all the years and time I've invested in this stroke of Man United, such a big update finds me in a long meeting that I was chairing myself and phones are off. How am I among the last people to find out that this guy has been sacked? I had messages, people were sending me breaking stories, and I wasn't accessing my phones. And I feel so bad. But anyhow, welcome to the United of Sport. My name is Webb. I didn't know that the atmosphere would be like this, how, where it would find me. But, big news doesn't get you in the most conducive of spaces. But I'll get into it. So, Eric Ten Hag finally sacked. We all have heard it by now. But listen, Ruud van Nistelrooy is taking over in the interim. Many will start saying we are sack FC, sack and hire and fire FC, and what have you. But listen, I will be honest. Eric Ten Hag brought this on himself by certain statements he was making after games. I don't think really he was sacked just because of poor results. I think it is the whole package of how he handles himself after losses, after certain games, after with excuses and being so full of himself. At some point, he made us feel like he did not understand the magnitude of club he was managing. For me, I feel like he pulled the trigger on himself in all honesty. And is it a good thing? No, it's never good for someone to lose their job, but it is what it is. Eric Ten Hag now is no more. So Ruud van Nistelrooy is on the wheel. People are already talking about and speculating about who could return. There are possibilities of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer returning. It's good Thomas Tuchel is not in the conversation no more. I'm happy about that. But most likely, Ineos have already found their man. They are either going to trust Ruud van Nistelrooy. Of course, in the statement, the official statement showed that they are going to come up and announce they are searching for the full-time replacement. Van Nistelrooy will just be manager for the interim, but they will either trust Ruud van Nistelrooy to take over fully as the boss of the team, or they have already found a guy to come in and fit in. Now, the wife of XAVI, there are reports in recent days that claim that Man United had spoken to XAVI and met XAVI of a potential move to take over the job. Of course, the thing is, the reason why XAVI could I think, some credible news is because, first of all, Ineos seem to admire the kind of football that XAVI coaches, the kind of football, he was known for that tiki-taka style of football that I don't like with Man United, if I'm being honest. I don't think that's football for Man United. But Ineos seem to be convinced that that's the kind of football they would want. So XAVI would make sense. He's not entirely fair at Barcelona, if you ask me. I felt like they played a good game for a team like them. Theirs, like Barcelona, just don't think it's the kind of football for United. It's not the football we loved United for. But for Ineos, probably that's what they want. So, but also his wife comes out on her Instagram and posts an image of Javi with the kid, I think the girl, the daughter, putting on a Man United jersey. Now, that alone shows you what was she saying. With all these reports coming up of Ineos meeting Javi recently, and then the wife posts that after Man United losing to West Ham. You read between the lines and you're thinking maybe there's some truth to this, some truth to it. But also we know that women at times are not the best people to keep secrets. So we are waiting to see whether it will be Javi. But also we know that Zinedine Zidane has been there. He gave his conditions, but at this point you feel Ineos are desperate to meet conditions of any great manager they can get their hands on, because Zinedine Zidane is one of such. And the English excuse may not be a big one for me. I think he understands English a bit. He can still work with what he has, but also he has had enough time to try and learn English. And French and English are not so far apart. It's not really so difficult for people who speak French to learn a bit of English and be able to communicate properly. So he probably could have learned by now in the sabbatical he has had. But Zinedine Zidane is another option available. So the three front runners for the job are Zinedine Zidane, there is Javi, and possibilities of Ruud van Nistelrooy taking it as the manager on a short-term contract at the start, or even bringing back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You can drop down a comment and let me know in your view what you think would be the best solution for now. My view is, personally, first monitor Ruud van Nistelrooy and see what he does in the interim, what he does in this period as the interim manager. What does Ruud van Nistelrooy do? I would love to go the Arsenal way, where they trusted a former captain, a former player of the team, a legend of the club. Of course, you can't really call Ateta a legend of Arsenal, but I mean by their standards, he's probably one. But they trusted a former player. That's the whole point I'm trying to make. They trusted a former player to be the one to lead their rebuild. You think you want to see a bit of that at Man United? Let them try that, or perhaps try and bring back Ruud van Nistelrooy and partner him with either Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who has been there before, or who did not entirely fail, or I love Michael Carrick. Honestly, I would want to see Carrick back at Old Trafford. I don't know in which capacity would be best. Maybe not as the manager, but Ruud van Nistelrooy, I think, can command the respect. And you saw, by the way, if you read between the lines, you would see Van Nistelrooy was not entirely properly communicating with Erik Ten Hag. You would see that probably he had been told, you know what, very soon we are going to be pulling the trigger on this man who thinks this is a small club from the Netherlands. So he has been talking about him winning trophies for himself. He has won two at Man United, honestly. He lives not in the best way for a manager to leave a club, but it's nothing unusual, really. Managers are hired and sacked. He knows it, and he must have felt this coming. And he can only now wait for his compensation, if any, because certainly these contracts are always going to be so detailed. And uh, Ineos must have put in specific, the Glazers who hired him before must have put in specific terms of disengagement. So that's what's happening. So let me know who you think should be the right man to take over the job right now. But in the interim, it is Ruud van Nistelrooy. The one thing I want to see after this, of course, you expect always when a manager is sacked, you expect a reaction from players. So the next Man United opponent will certainly feel it. They'll feel it. Trust you me on that. Leicester City, whatever, they'll feel it. They'll feel the wrath of playing against a mad team. So they'll feel it. But I expect a reaction from players, but I also expect certain players later on, eventually, at the next available opportunity, to be let go of because Erik Ten Hag's failures are, yes, largely on himself, but also the players. You cannot, put them out of this. The players as well have got a lot of responsibility to take in Erik Ten Hag's failure at the club. So beautiful stuff there. It's not the best of conditions. I would have loved this news to find me in my studio, but unfortunately, whatever I've been doing is also important business. That certainly will have a good impact on my love for Man United. So that's it. Erik Ten Hag is no more being booted as Man United manager in less than 3 years. Again, he becomes the umpteenth manager to be fired by Manchester United. Where does he rate among former United managers? Because he's now a former after Sir Alex Ferguson. Because if you go by trophies, I think he would rate second after Jose Mourinho, or they would be almost the same. But Mourinho won a bigger title in the Carabao Cup. But in terms of performance, I would put him behind. What the first season was good, promising. I would put him behind Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in terms of performances on the pitch. Honestly, I think I would put him behind Solskjaer. So Ten Hag is no more, guys. Catch you later. Are you happy? Are you dancing? Where are you celebrating the news from, or where are you mourning it from? Are you okay with us getting the name tag of Hire and Fire FC? Let me know what you think.